the future of any sporting activity depends on the youth. The youth will always give you hope, whether there is light at the end of the tunnel or whether it's about taking the tunnel to where the light is. We have juniors here with us in studio who represented the country in the East African Junior Tennis Championships. The girls finished with a silver medal, then the boys finished with a bronze medal. Congratulations are in order to the team, because clearly there is light at the end of the tunnel. In some sports, it's about taking the tunnel to where the light is, which is never an easy task to do. Welcome back after enjoying the score, getting updates of what unfolded both locally and across the borders from a sporting point of view. Here we are to now discuss matters tennis. We are joined on set by the junior tennis players who represented the country in the East African Junior Tennis Championships that were held in Uganda. Some of them, the players are here, were out doing duty for Kenya for the first time. Tough assignment indeed, but they came back victors, and congratulations are in order. They have their medals, they have their trophies to showcase what transpired. Let me start by introducing the team in studio with us this afternoon. Very privileged and honored to be joined by Bathsheba Ogamba, to my farthest right here with us in studio. Bathsheba, good afternoon and welcome.
Hello.
Welcome back to the country. I know it's not been easy, but feel at home.
Okay.
Next to Bathsheba, we have Generica Rugoi, also a member of the team that went out there to do duty for Kenya and came back with a silver medal. Generica, also daughter to Coach Rugoi, who also is part of the Kenya, Tennis Kenya technical team. A privilege, in fact, to be a daughter of one of the best coaches from a tennis point of view in the country. Generica, good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting us here.
Karibu sana. Then we'll cross over to my left, and on this side we have with us Indiatsi Olembo, who also was part of the team with the boys team, finished in the 3rd position with a bronze medal. No mean achievement at all, because out of 6 teams, 6 countries that were there, Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, Seychelles, Rwanda and Kenya, they came back with a bronze medal, being on the podium. Indiatsi, good afternoon and welcome as well.
Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting us here, and we had a really good time in Uganda.
Thank you very much. We'll be talking about the fun, the experience out there in Uganda. Let me cross over to Jian Patel, also a member of the team that represented the country. Jian, good afternoon and welcome as well.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting us here.
Thank you very much, and you're most welcome. Then last but not least, we have Neera Patel. There's always, a parent behind everything that happens. She's here, in studio to represent other parents who also support these junior tennis players. Neera Patel with us. Good afternoon, Neera.
Good afternoon to you.
Most welcome as well, and as a mother you must be very proud, at this early age, seeing young ones like this representing the country.
Yes, definitely. We are very proud of our kids.
Thank you very much and most welcome. First and foremost, let's congratulate the team for the good performance that they had out there in Uganda. We'll start, by engaging the team, and I'll start with Bathsheba Ogamba. How was it like, in Uganda? This was your first assignment out of the country?
Yes, it was my first assignment, and once I heard that I was chosen to go to Uganda, I was very excited and happy.
Was there pressure?
No. No, there wasn't pressure from anyone.
Thank you very much, and we'll talk about the experience once now you started getting ready for the tourney in Uganda. Let's come now to Indiatsi. Indiatsi, the boys went out there, came back with a bronze medal on the podium. Did you expect to be part of the podium in terms of finishing in the 3rd position, or you went out there to just gain some experience?
It was my 2nd time out of the country for a tournament, so I believed that I would perform well, and I thought at least I would get top 3 out of all the countries.
Congratulations, because you achieved it. Let's come back to Generica Rugoi. First and foremost, is there pressure from Coach Rugoi to make sure that you are a superstar in the future?
No, there's no pressure because he's just teaching me as his own daughter just to play my game and no pressure.
Being a coach, you know, in the family, you know, as your father, would you attribute that to what influenced you into going into tennis?
Yes. So it's not really that hard, but it's okay.
Congratulations. We will be talking more about it. Let's come to Jean. Mom is in studio. Forget about mom being in studio because there's always some pressure that comes with it. How was it like in Uganda?
We had a good experience. There were some tough matches over there. We enjoyed ourselves mostly, and in the end, our hard work paid off, and we ended up coming top 3.
And talking about coming top 3 and winning this, let's talk about parents' involvement in terms of bringing up young players, not just in tennis, but in all sporting, activities. Nira, how is it like? You spot the talent at a very young age, then you nurture it, you allow them to express themselves, or how is your involvement as a parent in terms of their upbringing from a tennis point of view?
Okay, in my case, he already had that interest. The first time he played, he was interested, and after that, it was more of just making sure he continued with it. And that is a part I've played, yeah, making sure he goes for his training. When the first few times they lose, it's very disappointing for them, and supporting them in that. And yeah, it's just all about the support, I think. The interest has to come from them.
It starts from them.
Yes.
Well, as we talk about that, you're looking at some of, their training of the junior tennis players. It's not been easy, more so after having hosted, the Billie Jean Cup the other day here in Nairobi. Shiba, let's talk about the training as we look at some of the images of your training. How was your training as a build-up to this Uganda tournament?
My training was good. It was fun. We really worked hard on the training, and we were using ideas from the coach, and also we were trying to listen to what she had to tell us, because every time we met a country, we had to talk about how we're going to play it. And also, after training, like when we have trained and warmed up on our strokes and all that, we used to play some points. We used to give our best on it, because you don't know which player you're gonna meet. And then after that, we used to also go and watch the opponents that we're gonna be meeting, so that we can see how their game's like and how we're gonna play them.
To understand their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Interesting indeed, because one key thing is always to understudy your opponent, in terms of getting ready. Indiatsi, how did you end up in tennis? Why not football? Why not volleyball? Why not rugby? Why tennis?
Actually, I started with football. I still do football, but tennis is my main sport. I enjoy tennis a little bit more than football. And I got into tennis when I was about 3.5. I watched my sister play, and I was inspired by the way she played and how she played her strokes, and ever since then I've been playing like that.
You've never looked back.
Yeah.
Are you planning to drop football completely?
No.
Interesting indeed. Generica, there is a player who at the moment is putting tennis in the limelight. That's Angela Okutoi. Are you drawing some inspiration from Angela, last weekend winning her first singles title in Tunisia?
Yes, Angela is actually my inspiration, because she won the Wimbledon, and also that's my goal, to go to the Wimbledon just like her. And I'm also planning to be maybe the 4th or the 5th Kenyan in Africa to
to win the Wimbledon. Yes.
Lupita Nyong'o says your dreams are valid, so go for it. You just never know. Not just you, but all here in studio with us. Gian, let's come to you now and talk about the championships in Uganda. You went in. Which of the matches that you played would you say was the most difficult, and why?
Okay, so the matches that I found very difficult was on the last day that I played singles. For my singles match versus Burundi and Uganda, I was barely able to keep up with them. But the one that was very interesting and I took very long to finish was versus Rwanda. I ended up going to 3 sets in both of my matches, doubles and singles. So in singles, I had lost the first set, but then, so now it is best of 3 games. So if you win 2 sets, you've won. But if you win one and the other person has won one, you have to play another one. So that happened both in both of my matches, making it very difficult for me because I was tired for the second match and I enjoyed it.
Wow. Very interesting indeed. Shiba, let's talk about those moments that we are looking at right now on the screen. So how does it feel like, or how was the feeling when you are being given your awards, your trophies and stuff? How was the feeling like?
I felt so good inside. I knew that we worked really hard for it. Even if we lost against Burundi, they were a really good team and they did really good job like us. Yeah, I felt really good that I was winning. Even a silver medal is really privileged for me because it's really nice for me to, like, the feeling is very nice.
The feeling is good.
Yeah.
Before I come to, to Nira, to just get more insights, let's engage Jenrika, Rugoi. You go out there, you play some very tough matches, and out of all this, she mentions Burundi was a tough one. Where do you think Burundi's strength was? Was, in how they play their strokes, or were they just physically, mentally prepared better than us? Why do you think Burundi, carried the day? Were they any better? And if yes, what was their strength, strong point?
Yeah, Burundi was really a very strong team because the first seed player was really good at her spin of her ball, making us run, and she's actually physically and mentally good.
And as we look at, the Burundian, team, it looks like the region is really improving. Let's come to you, Nira. In terms of supporting them, you identify once the interest is there as a parent. You now give them the freedom. But there's always the aspect of balancing books and education. How do you support them in terms of balancing both?
You see, when they like a sport, you use that sport to make them work to get the education right. Mm-hmm. Like for me, if you are not going to bring me the scores that I expect you to, which I believe you can, your sport will have to take a back step. So automatically that gives them, because they don't want to give up that sport, they will automatically learn. I mean, I'm not going to expect A's out of you because I know you are balancing the two.
Correct.
But then there has to be a balance.
There has to be a balance. Because they also
and because of their interest in sport, that keeps them going on with their education.
They also say that too much, work without play makes Gian, Indiazzi, or even Shiba and Jenrika dull in everything.
And you can see where they've come with their sports. They're going far with it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's now come back, to Gian before I engage Indiazzi. Gian, preparations is key in everything that we do. From a tennis point, you have very big names that have come from, Kenyan point of view. In the yesteryears, we had very, very big names coming in. Right now, you have the Kibets, the Ismail Changawas of this world, part of the world. As a young tennis player, do you think that Kenya has what it takes to become a tennis playing nation in the future?
Yeah, because if Kenya keep on pushing the youth players like this, they can have very good players and will be able to proceed on to stages. Like for us, maybe like let's say next year, the team, like if they push the team enough, they could make it to the African championships in Tunisia. So I think if they continue pushing the children to work hard, to train every day, well, not every day, but when like quite a bit, and how they approach teaching the children, they'll make it.
It's possible if
Yes.
we get it right with the youth. Very well, put there. Shiba, having finished runners-up, you've now qualified to represent East Africa region in the African Championships that will be coming later on in the year. That's in Tunisia in October. That now comes with much more pressure because you're now not representing Kenya, but you're representing the entire region, which means there will be a lot of focus on you to perform. And there's also the pressure that Angela Kutoi comes from Kenya, which means a lot will be expected from you. What's the preparation like? Have you sat down with your managers, with your coaches to start working on a plan for the October event?
Not yet,
Not yet.
but I'm sure when we're gonna be planning, we're going to push more, extend the weeks of training before we go to Tunisia, work really hard, push our limits. Even if we don't make it, win the tournament, it doesn't matter. What we're looking for is we work really hard, we try and fight. We don't just let people say this and say that, or say that we can't progress in Tunisia, because in Tunisia it's really tough, like super tough. Yeah, and like we need to be mentally, physically, psychologically prepared for everything that's gonna be happening in Tunisia, because it's not gonna be easy.
It won't be easy.
No.
But I know Tennis Kenya will definitely be coming up with a plan to ensure that all those that you've mentioned, mentally, physically, psychologically, they'll have you ready for the same. You finished runners-up in Uganda against all odds.
Yeah.
You can do it in Tunisia.
Yeah, because Uganda was also not easy. It was tough.
It was tough.
Yeah, all the countries did their best. All of them were good. They tried. They came here to Uganda, and they were also looking to win silver or gold. We were not the only ones who were looking. And like, I'm really happy we met them to experience the games, because they were really good players. And next time when they come, I'm sure they're gonna win.
That's a good one.
China's.
Indiati, let's cross over to you now and I'll find out the experience and some of the learnings that you picked as a player when you went for the East African Junior Tennis Championships in Uganda. What are some of the learnings that you picked as a player that can help you improve your game as you move forward?
Some of the things that I learned were life isn't that easy. And especially when we were playing Rwanda, it was quite tense. Especially with Gian, he had done really well to come back in the third set and finally win his match, because if not, we would be really down. And for me, when I played my match against Seychelles, it was really fun. My opponent was good, and he really tried to continue and try beat me. He played really well, and I noticed when Seychelles won their first match, they were really happy, and we just had to win our next match to be able to come third. And what I've learned is that my backhand isn't that strong, and I need to work on it.
So definitely this is something that you will be working on with the technical team to improve on.
Yes.
But interesting to note that even as a team, you can tell the strengths of the team, clearly calling out how he played. That's Gian giving it a very good push against Rwanda and having fun and enjoying. It looks like you also knew the strengths of your team and you capitalized on the same. Let's come to, Generica now, Arogoi. Preparations for the October event that's in Tunisia will be key, and like Ashiba has mentioned earlier on, it's going to be tough. As an individual, as Generica, how do you want to prepare psychologically now that you are privileged to have Dad as a coach? Who can also be a mentor in the house? Do you ask questions? Do you engage? Or do you have your own personal training times? How do you want to approach the October event?
Actually, I would just like to go to YouTube and watch other players play their game, so I could also try and copy what they do, and also ask for my dad for information on what to do and how to do it, and also do more preparation with my coach and learn more skills so I can do it in Tunisia.
Very interesting indeed, and wishing you all the best. It starts now. Gian, let's come to you. We might, as a country, finish third at the juniors. It doesn't mean that that's the end of the road. There is so much that can be done. How do you want to pick yourself going into the next? You are on the podium. You didn't make it to the African Championships that's coming up in October, but still there is so much to be done. How do you want to pick yourself, and what next for you?
So what I think I should do is I need to continue training, pushing, giving everything in training, because if you don't give 100% in training, that's the same thing you're going to do on court. So you always have to give your 100%, and I think as a team we should just continue working hard to continue pushing on for next year.
Continue pushing, giving it your best, and you just never know what can come. Let's come to you, Nira, as a parent. How do you now help him to achieve this, and how do you maybe console them that you might not have made it, but you still have what it takes? How was it like for you in terms of receiving and also giving them hope, looking at the glass as half full?
Well, okay, I think most of that was done by the parents who were there with them in Uganda, who told them, yes, okay, we've come third, but we worked really hard. And that's what matters. And yeah, like we say, just continue training and we'll get there. It's not the end.
It's not the end.
Yes.
Looking at the glass as half full.
Exactly.
All right, let's now, come to Shiba and just engage. Shiba, where do you see yourself? You are a junior tennis player, already started making headlines, finishing, runners-up with a silver medal. Already you're making headlines. Where do you see yourself in the next, say, 10, 15 years to come from a tennis point of view?
I see myself as a professional tennis player, because that's my biggest goal that I want to achieve. And I want to be 4th or 5th Kenyan to become professional, and to be not like Angela. I don't want to be like Angela. I want to be like Shiba, not Angela, because I believe that I have the power to get to the professional that I want to be in the 10 or 15 years.
You want to make your own story?
Yeah, I want to make my own story. I don't want to be the second Angela. I'm not Angela, I'm Shiba.
And if anything, there can only be one Angela.
There can only be one Angela, and there can only be one Shiba.
Wow. Very interesting indeed. There can only be one Angela, there can only be one Shiba. She wants to write her story which means that she's not looking forward to saying, I want to be like Angela, I want to be Sheba. You want to make headlines. You want to be who you are. Let's come to Indiatsi and now ask Indiatsi, where do you see yourself? Would you also want to be a professional tennis player, or you want to do this just for fun, part-time, etc.?
In the next 10 to 15 years, I'd like to see myself playing people like Carlos Alcaraz, who have played older people who have 16 to 18 year age groups, age differences, like Djokovic, who he beat this year Wimbledon. And I'm looking forward to continue tennis and later become a professional number one.
Wow. It can be done. It's all in the mind. And it can be done and it can be achieved. Very interesting, just noting how they are challenging themselves to push themselves to the limit. Let's engage Gentrick Rugoi and just find out. Gentrick, there's a girl right now looking at you and admiring that at this young age you're already making headlines and becoming, a star in terms of going to represent the country. It's not easy even to be where you are. What message would you have for that young girl out there looking at you right now as we start winding up?
That life, just like India said, life is not easy. But if you work your hardest and all that you have, that you'll make it. No matter how hard it is, no matter how hard the road or how many obstacles you have, but you have a way to go past them. But just believe in yourself.
It can be done. Final say, Gian, what message would you have for the young boy looking at you right now as you wind up?
If, like, as both of them have said, life is hard. I mean, but if you continue pushing, you don't give up, you'll end up making it. As long as you just continue on the right path.
Thank you very much. On behalf of parents, you have 30 seconds. What can you tell parents out there in terms of nurturing, this young talent?
All I'll say is let the children play.
Let the children play.
Especially when this young. I mean, yes, understood when they're a bit older, it might be a bit difficult to balance the studying as well as this.
Let them play.
But right now, they have the opportunity, let them do it.
Let them do it. From a tennis point of view, in the yesteryears, it's been generation after generation. It started off with Paul Wekesa, Norbert Oduor, then currently we have Ishmael Changawa, we have the Kibets of this world pushing it. Then the generation that's now coming in, we have Indiatsi, we have Gian already pushing that they can take over the mantle. The Angela Okuto is right now making headlines, but we have Sheba, we have Rugoi here also indicating that they have what it takes in terms of becoming superstars in the future. They want to make their own stories. It starts now. We want to appreciate you making time to be with us, wishing you all the best. Sheba, Rugoi, wishing you all the best as you go for the, the African tourney. We'll be keeping Kenyans up to speed with your preparations and how the events will be. Wishing you all the best. And thank you very much for making time to be with us. We appreciate it. Well, up next we go into the next segment of the show, and that's The Prodigy. And this time round, we are featuring Michelle Chepngetich, a Paralympic athlete, in our Prodigy segment. Let's enjoy that. When we come back, we'll be switching gears, go into Matters Kekoso Games. Don't go away. Prodigy is up next.